welcome one, welcome all to Demo Crazy, hosted by the three Kwames this time, Doug Medhin, Kevin Bradley, and Robert Haywood. Usually I'd have my digital avatar, but because the last episode, I was having connectivity issues, I figured until I get a better connection, I'm gonna keep this off. So, now, how Demo Crazy, usually we just focus on one topic, but seeing as how last week we kind of went slab loungy, I kind of like that. Don't get me wrong, we're not going to go like full on rah. But I would like to open up with, yes, I know I was going to talk about what's going on with the Israel conflict, because that is escalating, but at the same time, I'd rather focus on domestic efforts here. And let's start things off with the criminal complaint that Trump and J.D. Vance, because they've been pushing that whole Haitian eating pets thing. That is so fucking stupid. 30 bomb threats? 30 bomb threats in like schools, municipalities, like just a bunch.
Hospitals, everything.
Yeah. And
City Hall. Nothing.
And, like, I feel bad. Like, I actually do feel bad for the cops because they have to, they actually have to, look into everything that, even despite how baseless it can be, they still have to look into it. Which means, crime can go up. So, thanks for that, Trump and Vance, you fucking...
Well, they're trying to prove themselves right for once, because it has been going down, so if they cause all this, it does go up. So then it does look like the news was lying.
News was lying. You know what? I don't even...
Although technically the news is lying a lot, so...
Yeah, just look at Fox News. But you know what? I'm not even going to call Vance J.D. Vance. I'm just going to call him SCF, Sir Couchfucker. Doug, there's no proof of that. Well, that man was spewing baseless shit, even going on CNN and saying he has to make up stories. So I'm going to call him Sir Couchfucker, or SCF for short. Who wants to join in on that? Seriously, am I the only one that wants to join in, that wants to do that?
I mean, usually I just avoid saying his name in general, so...
He still needs to keep the middle D initial in his name, so I guess it works.
Whatever.
What? If he has monogram shit, he only has to change like 2 letters. The same. That saves you a lot.
No, fuck that. No. SCF. It rolls off the tongue more than G. No one even knows what the J and the D stand for. Like, no one knows what it stands for.
Just dickery.
Yeah,
that's true. Now that I think back, because his names just kept evolving. Because that wasn't even the original name he went back on way back then.
Yeah, fun fact. Trump actually changed his last name because he used to be Drumpf.
Yep.
Yeah.
It sounded too foreign.
Yeah.
You need a whole bunch of Drumps running around here.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking German bitch. Anyway, but yeah, you have...
You didn't want to be DD? Double D with his physique out there?
It's because I was watching Philly D literally before you two showed up. In fact, when Captain showed up, I had Philly D on the background, and it was when the criminal complaint was filed. Philly D was actually reading some court documents that some legal personnel were actually talking about, and it's true. It's like if it were anyone else, they would be in cuffs right now. I mean,
yeah.
This
long ago. When the city officials had first spoken up, it would have been escalated at after the debate had ended. If it had been any other person, that would have been it. There would have been investigation. Someone would have got called in. Tons of things, but it's Trump and Vance.
Well, the thing is that story is weird because I actually read it a couple days before they had the debate and brought it up. They should have started shutting it down then,
Yeah, because it was started by some red... Oh, yeah, because Facebook...
That bitch, yeah. Why is she in the complaint? That's what I want to know. Her and the neighbor that started it, now she's all I deleted it. I didn't know what's going to happen. Bullshit.
Well, because everybody's doing the normal thing you're supposed to do and still going out there and actually apologizing. So everybody's letting them off the hook because they're doing the one thing that the main two aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just a long game for them to be able to get away with a simple apology now.
And even then, I'm still not going to accept that Karen's apology. I mean, you're not even going to fucking look in your own goddamn house. Okay, so here's the context, people. This Karen, I'm not even going to say her actual name because she doesn't deserve it. Her cat, her cat was like, what, Miss Sassy or some shit like that?
Yeah.
She thought her cat was taken by the neighbors. So rather than, looking through her fucking house, she called it in. And then later found, and then, posted that shit on Facebook or whatever. Only to find out that the cat was in her fucking basement. That Karen is an idiot. Like, rightfully, right off the bat, just going, I can't find my cat. It must have been the neighbors. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you, you stupid cunt? There's no fucking... I'm not going to accept her apology. That shit...
No. You got different... The person who lost a cat, she wasn't the one who went and spread it. It was her friend who has heard about it offhand, and she was the one who posted it on the Facebook, so which is even worse.
Because old lady did cause the issues with her neighbors, but she wasn't really spreading it. She just kind of was at her neighbors being that way. And then later when she found the cat, she went and apologized to the neighbors. But her friend was the one who was like, yeah, it's everywhere. They're doing it all the time. They're snatched up.
I will apologize for accusing the Karen of posting that shit on Facebook, but I won't apologize for stirring shit up to begin with. I won't. No, and the friend, yeah, she's equally cunty and Karen-like. Anyway, it was later picked up by like a hard right neo-Nazi group called like the Blood Pact or something, and they were running with it, and that's how it got into eventually Trumpf because he reiterated that shit on the debate, which caused this whole shitstorm in Springfield, Ohio, when and the fact that the Trumpf team are still like saying, "Oh no, Trump." Oh, Hina shows up now. Are you kidding me? All right, I'm gonna pause this. Okay, everybody, sorry about that odd cut. We actually had a 3D modeler that we had to interview, and that person just cut out, I guess, because the person doesn't want it. Anyway, well, seeing as how we did that odd cut, we might as well do another odd cut in, because while, yes, what's going on in Springfield, Ohio is terrible, let's lighten the mood up by talking about a black Nazi who decided to post a lot of his stupid shit on a porn fucking site of all fucking things. I actually am half tempted to look at Nude Africa, because they're getting like a ton of just traction now. After I was like, hey, he said all that. What does Nude Africa have? And I'm just all like, I'm kind of curious now.
Sadly, I knew it existed. I just thought it had went out like a long time ago. Because when it said it, I was like, it's still fucking up. So that was more my shock, was like, oh, Lord, the site's up and you left note. Like, bro, and you didn't even make new screen names, bro.
Wow.
He was on those sites like you're on a Reddit site down the rabbit hole. Like, he's just an active post.
I don't even leave that much information in fucking Reddit. Don't nobody know who the fuck I am in Reddit.
Right? He's all like, he put it off his personal information. He's like, I'm fucking my wife's sister, describing it.
You out here telling your favorite Twilight Zone episode, bro. You can't. When it gets to that point, and the news is like, we have 6 sources, and the guy who owned the theater has pictures with you.
With the pizza. He bought a pizza. Pizza.
He should have just played it off and been like, I was supporting my local businesses. They would have took it better if he had just went whole in with that.
That's just going to pay slower. Strong on small businesses. Mark Robinson.
It would have looked weird for Republicans, but he would be able to keep his spot if he had suddenly been like, I'm a sex-positive Republican. I'm pro-sex. I'm pro-porn. All that. but you still can't get that abortion. They'd have to think about it. There'd be a moment of hesitation where you'd be like,
Right? If he was pro porn, pro small business, black, and if he took out the black Nazi stuff, he's like, "Oh, this is our token." The Republicans like, "This is our token." Like,
well,
move
I'm sorry,
over, Tim
he
Scott.
still ain't gonna get too much black business promotion because he's still there. Everybody gonna walk in and still see Uncle Ruckus, so that ain't gonna.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think Uncle Ruckus would touch, like, well, no, I take that back.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't because he's black.
Yeah, because he's black.
Yeah, and he had
because Steve Keener and him would be cussing him out down the street.
No, because like Mark Roberts he was like, "Yeah, I'm pro-slavery. Like, I think I own a couple slaves myself." It's like, bro, you will not be in the house. You're not Samuel Jackson and Django, bro. You'll be out here in the fields.
I'll be lucky if he out there in the fields. He might just be sitting in that one little house they just keep you at. Just over in the corner, throw some bones, and you're just fucking over there.
Oh, so he's like the sloth in this Roots vision.
That's him.
My thing is, what in God's name would make you want to post those comments, like, to begin with, you know? I mean, I can understand if you're like in a like nationalist thing, and you're just all like,
yeah, right wing. That's what they will want.
But what the?
If he was at least a recovering addict, it would make sense because you could be like, okay, it was the drugs, or he was drinking, or something. But no, he just did that on his own.
Right, at a porn website.
If it's a pro-Africa porn site, that's beside the point. A porn site to begin with. What did you watch to make you go, "I am a black Nazi that's in favor of slavery and that Martin Luther King is bullshit"? Like, what possessed you to put that shit down? What in your mind made you go like, "You know what? This is a good idea" on a porn site? Why? What?
Black dominatrix scene where his favorite white woman wasn't being the star. That's the best I got. Because there's nothing.
I don't know. Like, it's his thought process of his community, of a porn community. It's like, these people will have the same extreme views as me. Like, no, being horny is way different than having these other views, bro.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's kind of the sad thing is, it's now starting to be flushed out a little better in politics. Hey, did y'all realize that all these politics have been horny politics for a long time? And you just didn't know? Like all these few little businesses, we didn't notice that because we already went through the what the fuck was that site? We're exposed.
Madison?
Yeah. And it's like we already went through all that. There are obviously other sites that exist with money and to that degree. And it's like, so why are you fighting so hard to stop everybody from just enjoying their own freedom of sex in the sake of conservatism? But you yourself can't function in that society because you're going to violate your own rules. Why did you create that society? So you can break your own law?
Yeah, they get off on that. Like, most of them have side mistresses, several hookers they see, and a lot of these careers will be ruined. Well, before the Trump era, where they don't have the dignity to be like, "I'm going to resign and spend time with my family." Now that it's like, "I'm going to stay here." Democrats are crazy.
Yeah, because in like 20 years ago, this scandal come out. The next day, he would have been out. He's out. He would have drew out. It'd have been done. Nowadays, you could just bullshit your way all the way up to see if, well, maybe they'll still vote for him. Maybe. And you're just like, why would you risk that? Why are we okay with this? Even, I guess my biggest issue is indirectly the media lately. Because it is. You could start watching various different stations and channels, even different hosts, and see how even the same topic gets varied so drastically. And you're just like, what the and some of those hosts are at the same place. You could watch one host on MSN, NBC, and then watch a different host like 6 hours later and in some way, they will have a completely different take on the thing that the other person already said. And you're like, why?
Here's the how do I put this? I have a theory. Now this is a leak you wanted that, and I have like zero evidence, like none. You know how on like in person you're like one person, but then if you're on the internet, when you're anonymous, this, that, and the other, you're a completely different person altogether. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of let the id take over. Just be whatever you would be without restraints.
I think we're living in the times where as Captain put it, the id you're just the id now. And you just own that. And some people are just all like, hey, he's speaking my language. I'm going to do the exact same fucking thing. Because at the end of the day, and yes, you could blame social media for that because, let's face it, cyberbullying is cyberbullying, and you could just hide behind that that username. And now they're just coming out as their username and handle, and more people are just like, yeah, I could do that. But on the flip side of things, you could be like, Doug, that's complete and utter bullshit. There are tons of times where creators and influencers got outed and nobody's talking to them. Really? No one's talking to them? Because they could just find an alternate platform. I mean,
Milo is still out there, and we know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Every detail he does. And he has a platform and gets accesses to platforms.
Yeah, I mean, Lotier God, he got outed, and then he went to Kick and to home there. Fucking
he recently was trying to make a comeback again and then got put back down. I saw some video. Somebody covered it.
Oh,
but he recently tried to come back up.
I think you're talking about the time when he got like permabanned from Tekken 8 because he kept
no, this is after that. This is more recent. This is like within the past month and a half, 2 months.
Okay. I mean,
like what I said, he's been trying to do things to make a comeback, but ain't nobody about him. So ain't nothing changed. But he's trying. A lot of them, not I say them, but I should say YouTubers that fell out of favor for different various reasons or called out are slowly all starting to try to creep back in, hoping that people get guides.
Yeah, and they have a platform to enable them, like Kick or whatever, and
Kick being the worst of them.
Yeah. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the full you is coming out, and there are still some people that will be behind you, which is why, the Black Nazi is still like in the race, despite
well, he's still in the race because he missed the deadline to drop out. It was weird because the Trump campaign wanted them to drop out like 3 hours before they had a deadline before they could put someone else out there. So it's just like,
but they have no one else. There's no contingency.
Yeah, there's no contingency.
This happened too sudden for them to even have a backup contingency to slide out there. There is no spare white guy to throw out to make up for it. And you damn well don't have another black guy. And you ain't going to put Tim Scott out there and make us think that that's him.
Mm-hmm.
You get Tim Scott's girlfriend.
Maintaining that pseudo marriage that may or may not be existing.
I still haven't seen his girlfriend. Has anyone seen her alive? Is she real or is she dead?
She does exist and she is alive, but there are quotation marks around that girlfriend.
No, it's a different definition of girlfriend. She's literally just a girl with a friend.
Okay, I'll accept it. I was like, girl hyphen friend.
Yeah, right?
What? At the end of the day, you see, at the end of the day, the id is just there. And that is both a good thing and a bad thing, mainly because, A, it puts you in all the context, like all of it. But B,
all the context.
Yeah, all the context, yeah.
That is the problem, too, because things are when you're usually working in life and dealing with things, context is great, but it's great in moderation.
Yeah.
You never want too much knowledge of whatever it is, because it's still going to skew your decisions and how you affect everything else too. You really do only need a certain level of knowledge, because even when you're talking with another person, you could tell them everything right off the top of your head, but that could end badly. That could end good. You could give away things you didn't plan to give away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could tell, even me in my jobs normally, the immediate point of my job is still customer service. I can ask you, how can I help you? If the next statement that comes from your mouth is not what the problem is and is proceeding to tell me a story, then you weren't really planning for me to help you, because you could have just told me what you wanted me to help you with. You wanted me to hear the full facet of what's on your brain at the moment.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
So it's just venting. You're in social media Caligula days, basically.
Everyone has freedom to vent and rant about anything at any time, and can literally go live at any time to do it. And we've never really had a situation like that. And like even when we were younger, if something live was happening, people had to run to the TV. You had to gather up to all be like, oh my God. Nowadays you could just be like, oh, let me grab my phone. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
And you also have the possibility of like getting rich. Look at Hawk Tuah girl. No skills whatsoever. Just made an off season comment. Now she's giving his money. They give her a podcast. Like, I don't even know if this bitch could actually podcast, but they gave it to her.
Because she had a one-liner that was enough to go, hey, maybe she got more.
Right?
But it just she needed the access, which was that one moment, for various people to see, for the one right person to be like, I can work with that. And that's where we're at now. Even in the political standard, you can be online, post the most hateful thing. Someone out there is going to look through and go, yeah, I agree with that. And then they're going to team up with you or start following you, start communicating. And you two may not know anything about each other than those posts. And that's how you can end up with the fucked up situation of Robinson being like, I'm a black Nazi. And 9 times out of 10, he probably has communicated with an actual Nazi at some point. But that Nazi only knew he was black because he said it.
Right? Because the view is like this weird fusion of a lot of hatred, a lot of horniness because of the advent of like OnlyFans and the looseness of like Instagram and everything. Because back in the day, you couldn't just have people showing their nudes on the thing. Now on the reels, there's news all the time. Check out your link, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
And the popular word nowadays is normalize. And everyone's trying to normalize everything.
And to be fair, like, while, yes, Black Nazi, I refuse to call him by his actual name.
He's a Blasi. I heard of Blasians, not Blasis.
Mm-hmm. While, yes, many on the right, there are some people on the left. Now, hear me out on this before anyone jumps down my throat. Think about it. One way, like, people seem to forget how my dream wife, AOC's career skyrocketed. Because if you don't, for those who don't remember, or for those too young to know, one of the things that made AOC so viral was, she was in the New York subway train, just riding the rails, and she was a registered Democrat, and she was working for Bernie Sanders at the time. That clip went viral as shit. Now, Democrats were just all like, oh, okay, we'll just use her as like a thing. And then, when the DNC happened and she basically got up to speak, my God, did she dominate. Oh, I listened to that speech. Oh, man. I love her.
To be fair, what helped a lot was her looks, though. Like, the looks got people to the window.
Well,
And then when she spoke, it just added an extra thing on there, like a justification Like, oh, hey, no, I'm not that following her because she just looks hot. She also has a mind.
Well, to be fair, I mean, like, because Democrat, because she was always an outlier. She was always like on like just the outside. They were just like Democrats just treated her as if she was like the in the Bernie Sanders
Well,
brigade.
she was young too, to be fair.
She still is. Fuck you. I mean,
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, your immediate dismissal, like with most people on there, when you're at senior level, some new person comes in, you might be like, I like their ideas, but unless you had like a true agenda to push them forward, either A, you're threatened by them, so you want to keep them down, or B, you automatically judge them like, oh, they're young, naive. Let's give them some time in the background to pay their dues, quote unquote.
uh, you know what? I will get behind that. Somewhat. It's just that, like, again, she got her jump start because of that viral clip. Yes.
Yeah, because now virality plays in a part of politics. Before it was the seniority. You had so many people that were really bad at their jobs, so it's been there so long
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they just kept on going. But then, yeah, then you have no real choice how to jump up if you're underneath them because you're basically playing the game of do they like you enough or not threaten enough to promote you to go up, right? But now you can go viral on your own, and
Well,
that adds the outside pressure to them, and then it also makes you look good. Like, oh, well, now if I put my arm around them, I can make it look like they're my protege, and that boosts up your points too.
that is just,
Yeah.
yeah, but Captain, it sounded like you had something to say. Like I gotta like, because it said because you were like, go for it.
No, I just said yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have a whole bunch of clicks.
All right, then. Well, yeah. I mean, so yeah. I mean, there was that. Another thing that, like, for instance, like, technically it wasn't viral until John Oliver got his hands on it, but like when
True.
Tim Waltz was at that county fair with his daughter, and he gaslit his daughter when he's like, turkey's turkey's still, nope, turkey's meat, and that whole thing happened. And
Like,
But
yeah,
no,
turkey. That's turkey
but when
technically
you
a
see
vegetable.
that, that's something. Even in terms of electability, that's something where you're like, yeah, I can relate with that guy. Just
yeah,
trying to
no,
trying to
like, no, I'm not.
gaslight your daughter into being like, no, just eat what I eat. Come on, just do
To
it.
be fair, like, I'm not trying to jump down Tim Wallace's throat, because the man, like, I can't. He
He's
he.
pretty likable.
I mean,
No,
to
he's
stand.
likable, but he's
He's
not out
pretty
there
I
likable.
right
mean,
now.
to lead the gay straight alliance in the '90s. Are you?
As a
Yes,
football coach,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. He's from that point alone. It's kind of like, oh well, y'all lost Republicans. I'm sorry. There's nothing
I mean,
y'all can't attack
that
him at this
takes
point.
balls,
you know
man.
what? Tim Walls. It's like he looked at that episode of Dawson's Creek when Dawson wanted to out a football player, and his father coach didn't want him. Like, you see this? Do the opposite.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm dead
Yeah.
serious. Pretty much. It's just so weird that, like the '90s, man. I mean, to do that takes some
With the
balls.
hype of like the AIDS paranoia going out there and everything.
Well, the AIDS,
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
big loot.
the AIDS panic, yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
especially, yeah, because like when it, okay, so like when the AIDS, for those too young to remember, AIDS first started up in San Francisco, and a lot of people dismissed it, saying like, "Oh, God is punishing the gay man because San Francisco is full of gay people," even though that's not true. I'm like, fucking idiots. And then actual people started getting. So then they switched it up by saying like black people fucking gave us AIDS by having sex with monkeys. Dave Chappelle destroyed that so well on his Showtime comedy special for What It's Worth. That was the actual title for What It's Worth. He's like, really? Word? That is a firm decision to have sex with. First of all, you have to catch a monkey and has sex with a mom. That is a firm decision. Like, think about it. You and your boys, it's Friday night. You're like, oh, man, we're going to the club, y'all. You know, you coming, dog? Nah, son. I'm going to have sex with this monkey.
So my thing is that for because originally it came from SIDS, that was simian immunodeficiency, but usually for animals, for diseases to cross over the animal barrier, it usually will take a lot more than like one time. So like, how many times did we have to go out and catch a monkey, have sex with for this to happen? Like, you know?
You know, by that, no, because like by that very same logic, I mean, like white people caused the Black Death, man. Because the Black Death started from ticks that were on rats, and those rats
Yeah,
were
Norwegian brown
shits.
rats specifically.
Yes, in fact, white people brought rats to the states.
Yep.
When
Well, they
Columbus,
brought a lot of other diseases too.
yeah,
You
typhoid, et
know,
cetera, et cetera. Yeah,
Pretty,
everyone's
pretty
fine in
much most
Haiti
of
and
the
El Salvador.
diseases.
yeah, exactly.
The
So
majority of the diseases came with that.
And yet, you know what? They gave Columbus, that piece of shit, a fucking holiday. He was out here giving diseases, out here raping and plundering.
It's sad it's taken this long for finally history to be like, you know what? I guess we'll call it Heritage Day.
Right.
You know.
yeah, and to add insult to injury, they don't give it a day off.
No. The ironic thing is the banks sure take those days off. The capitalist people who would have been the colonizer themselves still take that day off like it's a triumph.
Yeah, but
I feel like at some point it's gonna be some form of holiday at some point because it's.
yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you, dude. I am right there with you. Anyway, but like, yeah, it's
Because
so.
I mean, how many of our holidays is associated with death and murder? Because I mean, you have Christmas, which is Jack from the Saturnalia, which was basically executing pagans. Thanksgiving, executing Native Americans. Columbus Day,
I don't even
executing.
call it Thanksgiving. I call it Turkey Day, man. I don't wanna. I want nothing to do with Thanksgiving. In fact, like when I was planning out the schedule for November, for like extra stuff that the students can do, like I don't even call it Thanksgiving. I just straight up call it Turkey Day. Anybody tries to like say Doug, Mr. Doug, why don't you just say it's Thanksgiving? I'm like, no, I'm never gonna call it Thanksgiving because there's not because the indigenous people have nothing to be thankful for. In fact, when I was working at Goodwill, one of the customers that came in, she was rocking a T-shirt. This T-shirt said, "You can't celebrate. You can't say you're a patriot if you're living on stolen land." And I was just like, "I applaud you. I applaud you." That it's
True.
it's true. It is true. Now look,
No, you can if you return a moniker called Manifest Destiny.
don't get me started
Hope
with
that-
Manifest Destiny. Oh my god, I fucking hated that. Like that logic. And what's worse is people don't
Did you
even
know
know.
God wanted us to have this land just like in England with divine rule? God said these people are in charge no matter what. Fuck y'all.
Which is interesting in its own aspect because it's like God gave power to the people, but then the people, if you look at it from the English standpoint, but then the people elected a king who then was always working with the church, who the church believes they speak for the Lord, but the Lord did not actually say that. And then those two combined and then tell people, the Lord told us to tell you this, even though the Lord had blessed everybody with their own decisions.
Right? And the Lord said, hey, create a class system where lots of people are fucking unhappy and they do what they say.
And there's okay.
Don't bring up the church. The church. The church.
The church.
Yeah. You want to know why you
Don't
want to
bring
bring
up
up
the
the
church.
church? Let me put it to you this way. You bring up the church. That means you actually have to start talking about what went down when Mussolini was Hitler's bitch. Because what did the Catholic Church do? Absolutely fucking nothing. And even when Trump was spewing the shit that he was spewing, what did the church do? Tell me, what did the church do?
Well, to be fair, the Pope did say something. They didn't actively do anything, but the Pope was like, no, we are not with him. So the Pope did say something, but church itself, no.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Because the Pope.
Yeah, the Pope. That's how is the Pope determined? Oh, by an arbitrary council of archbishops. Well, how are they determined? Like
in a room sealed with smoke.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right?
I mean, that when you do say it, it's like the most shadiest thing. And you're like, and we trust these people?
Like, honestly, if you want to convince anyone else, it's like, okay, let's have everything that they do, but that room is full of black people. Would you trust it?
Of course they won't.
No.
Exactly. So why are you trusting it now?
Like, look, a bunch of those assholes still believe that communities in Africa are like nothing but mud hut villages and shit like that. I'm like, the fuck are you talking? Have you been to Nairobi? Have you been to Ethiopia?
Gorgeous cities there.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Like, look
Dude, the
like,
gorgeous city. They have all the resources that you need for the chips. Honestly, if everything blacked out, Africa would rise to power like a Black Panther of Wakanda, because they have all the silicon and all the shit to make the chips for the drones. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, just go to Addis Ababa. Like, that's where I went when I was a kid. Yes, granted, it's the capital city, but like, it's not just like Ethiopia is like heavily like really like it's up there in terms of like tech and shit. I mean,
Well, it's tech. The place is huge. I mean, even the Desert Fox, Romanov Falcon couldn't conquer it with the Nazis. Like, the maps makes Africa way smaller than it is. Like,
well, no, it's true because like if you put the United States in the Sahara Desert, the United States would vanish. Like, the Sahara Desert is bigger than the U.S. That being said, like, no, it's not just that. I mean, like, there are tons of places that are. The thing is, like, a lot of people like believe that the U.S. is the most technologically advanced like place, blah, blah, blah. And while that is somewhat true, like, a lot of the states isn't anywhere near.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
like,
we just basically do what Elon Musk does. We just take shit from other people and buy them off and be like, this is ours now.
We are super efficient at using our technology towards capitalism. But if you wanted to do it for the sake of science and advancement of the country, we aren't technically the most advanced.
No, look at our public transportation. We could have easily had mag lines, all this shit. Right? Nope, because the oil companies want us to drive our cars.
We're still structuring with infrastructure just for the railroads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people keep bringing up like bullet trains and everything, and it's like the railroads aren't running properly currently.
Railroads aren't running properly. We got huge spans that don't have Wi-Fi, internet, or computers.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to bring that up. Like, there are like 30% of the territorial U.S. doesn't have an active internet connection. Not because they're poor, it's because Cox or Comcast or whatever the fuck you want to call it doesn't want to wire that place up. Google tried. They were going to try to do fiber internet all over the states, but then they saw how expensive it was going to be, and they just stopped. Because it's just way too out of the way, and there are not a lot of people that live there to justify said cost. There are
and our government doesn't set aside for that in the infrastructure, which they could. They could totally put it in a budget and get that covered, but we just never have.
Oh, no, because we're spending that money to Israel for the war against Gaza and Hezbollah.
Next week, I can actually talk about that because that really needs to be addressed. God knows that needs to be addressed. But we're coming across time for Demo Crazy, and I do want to try to do a mini Slab Lounge if you two are up for it, because I would like to just talk about like lawsuits for the mini Slab Lounge, due to the fact that, you know, the hammer dropped with Nintendo. Yeah. Are you okay with that, or?